So greetings to you lovely people. While the rest of you are getting here, let me begin by telling you how grateful I am for the opportunity to come to you on this broadcast now today, Thursday, the 14th day of August. We are in the second half of the year, and before you know it, we would be in Christmas again. And this Christmas would be better than last year's Christmas. Why I say so? Because we are entering the golden age of Guyana's future. We are continuing on that prosperous journey, on that pathway that is asphalt with peace, progress, opportunity, unity, understanding, love, citizenry, patriocy, real nation building, opportunity, plenty, vastness, and People's Progressive Party Civic. We have so much to celebrate. So it's my responsibility to make sure that you, the Guyanese citizen, stay on track, stay focused, stay consistent, and allow nothing to distract you. If I can come and give perspective on trending issues, on pending subjects, though they might be there for a few minutes and afterward they just dissolve and disappear, at the end of the day, what your mind absorbs, more often than not, remains there. It doesn't go like that. It is locked into your subconscious. The idea is not to get your reaction now. The idea is to plant the motion. Just to plant it, just to sow that seed in your subconscious and leave it there. So when that time comes, when that opportune moment comes, and those who plant that seed wants the seed to bear fruit, they know exactly what they need to say, need to do, what sound they need to make to ignite, to spark that germination, so you can start to react in the way they anticipate and they program you to react. All that's happening right now is to achieve that purpose. And birth, the day of delivery, the day when you will give birth to what you are carrying, that day is September 1st, 2025. This year, 3 weeks from now, you are going to give birth to that seed that was implanted in you. Then the rest of us will know what kind of seed you were carrying. If it was a junk seed, if it was a bad seed, if it was a unfertilized seed, what kind of seed? Because from the fruits that you will bear when you go to vote, The rest of us will know what you were carrying. And therein, we would be able to justify our opinions, our pre-formulated opinions about you, which might very well be you are a racist bastard that is determined on staying poor, being poor, and preventing your country from moving into the millennium that will take all of Guyana to the place it has to be, because you would be voting for the PNC. Therefore, we classify you as unworthy, as an animal, as a lunatic, an imbecile, a Nortonite. A Nortonite. I'll be referring to you like that. But for my loyal followers and good supporters, I understand that we all will be celebrating the real Christmas. You understand? Joy to the world, PP has won. Let all Guyana rejoice. You get it? Good. I'll be singing that every day until Christmas. Again, joy through the world, PP has won. Let all Guyana rejoice. I don't know the rest of the words for the song, so I can't, I don't know the rest of the words. Na 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 na. No, 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 no. I don't. I have to look it up. I'm spontaneous. I just pull that out of my head. I don't know the rest of the words. Okay? I'm not a PNC. I don't sit around all day on the internet and repeating TikTok songs or repeating TikTok trends. I don't do that. I don't have time for that shit. I am busy trying to see what can be done to make sure that the average Guyanese stay on track, and not be dissuaded, not be influenced by the lies, the propaganda that's coming out from those filthy, ghetto, low lives of the PNC. Yes, and their celebrity. Imagine that. Smelly Well is a celebrity. What do you know? Then what does that make me? Rickford Burke is a celebrity. What the fuck does that make me? What am I, a god? Because if they are celebrities, then I'm a god. Yeah, seriously. But folks, you are getting carried away with the amount of people that may be tuning into these assholes. Don't get carried away with that. It's the same amount of people that will vote for the PNC. That's the amount of votes they'll get. So if you find that on their live or their feed they get what, 5,000 views, whatever views, those are the votes for the PNC. All those people are black people. Not black people as Afro-Guyanese. Black people as ghetto black people. Because Afro-Guyanese are not black people. No, they are a different class of Afro-Guyanese. But the people that listens to the PNC pundits and spread their propaganda and are following Muhammad, those are black people. They're not Afro-Guyanese. They're fucking lowlifes. They are the bottom of the ladder. They follow that scum. So what I want to know today, it has been bothering me since this so-called interview that Melly Mel shared, not leaked, shared it on her Facebook account, consciously, purposefully, with the advice of the Muhammads, posted it. I've listened to it a few times, and all the claims that this lunatic Junior Bashk is made, I don't know the individuals that are mentioned personally, but your common sense can engage. You can engage your common sense, but you have to be, you see, for you to use your common sense to a point where you can bring some rationale to a story as if you are there, you have to be schooled. You have to be of a certain level of intelligence to do that. If you have only 1% operation of your brain, then you need people like Meliwell to explain it to you. You need all the PNC toppers to break it down to you. You need them. But if you're like me and you can listen to something once and you can dismiss it, good for you. So to the persons now who unfortunately don't have that capacity, I said yesterday, you need to know the messenger so you can trust the messenger, then that you can believe the message that he brings. He brings. The pronoun he, not she brings. She ain't a messenger. He is the messenger. As in he, as in I. I'm the messenger. Know me, trust me, believe my message. The she is not a messenger, it is an it. It is an it. And this thing that they are pushing, that I browsed across and I heard something about with Rickford Burke and Smellywell had their sex life, on YouTube, exchanging flirts, flirting with each other politically. I'm just going to say this. Folks, Melissa Atwell is what you call a chronic liar. She is a lifestyle liar. She is a prostitute of the truth. She is what you call a lie dealer, a gossip junkie. She's a criminal fabricationist. That's what she is. And you would expect that from people like that. And all the other people who are in that same category. Look at those women. Look at those women. They're always out clubbing, jumping from clubs to clubs, always at a party. Every time you can see them with a beer in their hands or wine in their hands, or those kinds of women. They're always involved in and out of relationship, having several lovers and boyfriends. And so these are people that you have to take them with a pinch of salt. I get it. We thirst for gossip. We thirst for propaganda. We want to hear nasty things. I get it. We long for these things. We need to get that. I understand all of that. But at the end of the day, how does it affect you as an individual? How? Do you actually believe what they're telling you to the point that you need to spread it and defend it and say, no, I swear it's the truth. Why would she lie? Why would she this? You cannot establish the motive of the individual for lying and fabricating and making these things because you are not them. You're not them. You're not being given incentives to do the things that they're doing. So when you put yourself in their position, you can't bring your head around as to why they would do these things if they are honest people. You are not them. You're honest. You wouldn't get involved in those kinds of stuff. That's the difference. So what you do with the things they're pushing, if you just see it as entertainment, you laugh it off, you dismiss it, and you forget about it. Or do you leave their life and go into your quiet space and contemplate, digest it, think about it? Then you have a problem. Then you are one of their followers. Then you have a problem. So, as much as you can, dismiss it. What I want to deal with is, I've said before, that when the time comes and I am sworn in as your Minister of Home Affairs, all the cold cases I'm going to solve. All the pending cases I'm going to solve. I'll get to every thug and lowlife and gangster and thief. I'll get all of them. Every one of them. I'll get all the cops who are pushing cases, undermining cases, closing cases, burning cases, forgetting cases. I'll get all those cops. And if those cops retired, I'll go find them and let them deal with the consequences for what they did on the job. Because leaving the job doesn't protect you for what you did while you were a cop. I'm going to go after everybody because I need to clean Guyana. I need to rid Guyana from every threat, every roach, every rat. That I can promise you. So we have a situation where this Junior Bash guy, on the behest of his boss, Ajuddin Muhammad, or the Muhammad family, went and gave testimony on camera in the audience of this wannabe reporter. What fucking senior journalist? How does he get that title? You mean because of the years he's been trying to be one? He's now elevated to senior? What was he, junior? That's how it works. Who promoted him to that? So this Travis Chase guy, who is also a hustler and a scam, put together this plan. They will have rehearsed it before and say, hey, you can say this, you should say this, I'm going to show you some pictures, you can say this. You know, the plan, the pre-interview before the interview, the preparation. I am still trying to analyze, except for the part where he implicated that graceful, peaceful, one of the greatest mothers of the soil of Guyana, to have produced one of the best presidents. When he implicated that woman into that level of nastiness, that's when it became personal. Because Irfan Ali is not a private citizen. That's none of my business. Irfan Ali is the president, the sitting president. He was elected president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. There are certain boundaries that you don't cross. He is not just a man. He's not a citizen. He's the president. And even after he leaves office, he would have been the former president. He would always have that title. So certain boundaries you don't cross. So when this man, on the advice of his sponsor, who has an axe to grind with the president because of the sanctions, and he thinks that the president didn't help him out, he's like, okay, hit him where it hurts. Talk about his mother, include his mother. Isn't that what we guys do? Not we guys, but when you really want to provoke a man, when you really want to provoke a man to react to a fight, you tell him about his wife or his mother. When you really, really, really want him to react. If he doesn't have a wife, or if the wife is not such a big deal, then you tell him about his mother. And man, he is going to bring out the animal in you. Cuss a man about his mother and see what happens to you after that. So what this Bash guy has done, that is beyond cussing Ali's mother. That is, you probably can tolerate the cussing, but that, including that senior citizen, the mother of the country, in that low, low, nasty, corrupt, collecting money, and oh, come on, man. You are now suggesting that the president, Irfan Ali, is so cruel, that he is so cruel, that he is going to ask his feebled mother, who only retire and want to relax and enjoy her retirement, to risk her credibility, to risk her life, to deal with low lives like Junior Bash in collecting money of that amount, that old woman. If you had said his brother or his father or his uncle or some agent or his bodyguard, then but this old woman who probably just wants to still cook for her husband. She's telling her son, no, I don't want a maid. He's saying, mommy, no, no, Irfan, I don't want a maid. I can still cook. I can still wash your father's clothes. And you are implicating that woman in that level of crime. Then it became personal. Then I thought, I got to get down to the bottom of this, because this guy is brazen. But guess what? The man said what he said without the intention of it getting out. So he made all these claims because he had no intention of it getting out. These claims that he made was just to go to a US agent for them to get a recording or to copy it and then delete it after that. He didn't say these things. It's like him saying he's Superman. It's like him saying that he was the one who fought and not coffee. And he sent the tape to some remote part of China where nobody knows anything about Guyana and say, hey, you see, this guy is the god of Guyana. He defended Guyana. And they would believe it because like, oh, wow. And they treat him like that. But then he don't want that to get out, because if people know that, oh, so you are lying to these remote Chinese people because you want them to worship you, he wouldn't risk that. It's the same now. He did this thing undercover and pretend that it's so important that if something happens to him, then you can get it out. Here what my issues were and are with that. Number one, nobody knew before that issue with the tape. Nobody knew anything about you. Who knew about you are the people that you robbed, borrowed money from, and kidnapped. Apart from that, the public didn't really know you existed. There was nothing trending about you that the PNC camp or social media would say, "Oh, let's help this guy. Let's protect this guy because they're after him." Nobody knew you existed. So what kind of threat are you talking about? And even if somebody knew you existed, and then you end up somewhere in some ditch, the public would still have to now familiarize themselves with the whole situation as to who is this guy? What is he talking about? Who was after him? Why they're after him? And then you have to hear the other side. Then all the people who were implicated will have to say, hey, what is he talking about? So you know they say the guilty one is always the one who runs first to the mic, who points a finger first. You would know this from a family circle. If you're living in a household with a lot of people and something for someone is lost or stolen, the family member who stands up first and say, let's search, that's usually the culprit. That's usually the ones who stole it. Because he's going to make sure he search in the areas or lead you in the areas where he knew he didn't put it. And generally in life, that's what it is. Law enforcement specialists, detectives, they know that. So this Bash guy, sitting before a criminal reporter, who himself is a scammer, discussing these issues, and this reporter should have told him, hey, do you know everything you're saying here is you're incriminating yourself? Because you haven't provided any evidence to these claims about these other people. It's just hearsay. Just hearsay. But you have confessed to a lot of these things. Do you know that you can get into trouble with this? Even if, as a scam reporter, I may have to submit this to the authorities because this involves national security. I cannot promise you that I'll protect this because it's a threat to national security. I have to forward this. That is what real journalists do, or agencies, because they can face criminal charges for withholding such important information about national security. But it was nothing to do with national security. It was only something that he had to do because his sponsors, the people he borrowed money from to pay his debts, saw an opportunity and said, oh, we could use him to say these things since he worked for Jagmohan, and tie him to the president and the vice president to take some heat off of Muhammad. Then maybe the dumb FBI agents would say, you know what, we sanctioned this guy wrong. It's we made a mistake because look at this other evidence. Yeah. Forgetting that these FBI agents that they think is dumb already had information on the Sami Bash guy. They knew about everybody. The FBI agents or the American office in Barbados or wherever, they would have done their research. Like they said, they have been following, documenting, investigating, spying on the Muhammad's camp and operation for years. So they know all the players. And they would have known that this junior Bash guy is an employee of the Muhammads. They would also know the amount of money that was exchanged, because during that time they were doing bank checks, right? They were doing drafts and all that information the American system would have. They know this Bash guy borrowed money from Muhammad. They know the debts he had. They know all of that. But they are so stupid that putting him up to do this video, and then at the end of it, because it was planned like that, to say, I'm a man of my word. I give you my word that I will not going to publish this unless you tell me to. That was the point of the interview. What are you, a cop? You're his lawyer? If you are the cop or his lawyer, that's when you have to protect privacy. That's when if something happens to your client, you can go to the cops or the media with the interview. But as a reporter or a news agencies, what kind of NDA and I can promise you that I would not reveal this. That was the whole point. The whole point of the interview was to get public sympathy for this so-called victim and to put Ali in trouble, to tie Ali to whatever crimes, alleged crimes with Venezuelan and Brazilians and this Jagmohan guy and all these other people. That was the point. So why keep it? Why suppress it? Why put it in a safe? Because the whole point was nonsense. It was nonsense. Thinking they can sell it to the Americans. You see, as a man thinketh, so he sees other people. Ajudi Muhammad is an idiot, and he's incapable of having thoughts. He's a spoiled, rich kid that all he knew was to bully people all his life and then pay them to shut up or stop crying. So as an adult, that's what he keeps doing. He bullies people and then pay them to shut up. Feels good about himself. So the interview is where he tells the guy, hey, go to Travis Chase, I'm paying him, he's on my team. And they plan, okay, tell him this, talk about that. Maybe Muhammad was right there in that so-called studio. He was right there. And he was pleased. But the man, Sami Bash, was performing. You look at his body language, he was performing. It was a scripted thing, a bad written script. It was not from his head. Scripted points, they discuss the points they're going to talk about. So when it seemed like he was not saying based on the script, then the idiot Travis Chase would look to his list he has and say in his mind, okay, you didn't talk about this. Let me suggest this so you can talk. Well, let me suggest this. That's what he was doing. It was a planned thing, an advertisement for the Muhammads to take to Barbados to get some heat off of him. That's how low they go. So by implicating the president's mother, they want to tell these Americans that they think is so stupid that this is how far the rabbit hole goes. The president involved his mother in the whole scandal. What do you think? The Americans would have taken that and say, Mr. Ali, President Ali, you need to demit office on the account of this interview. That's what they were hoping for. That thing was not supposed to be used in public. The only reason why it came out is because, one, the Muhammads didn't want the whole information about sending money to Melimel to circulate. And she knew that it would be a risk. So they sent her the video and say, hey, post this. So people can stop talking about the whole scam that you tried to scam me, the 35,000. Not tried to, she actually did it. That's how it came out. So all the players involved, even the Bash guy, even the junior Bash guy, where is he, by the way? Is he arrested? Did Suku went and arrest Junior Bash for his confessions and his admittance of being a part of crime and of high treason, colluding with the Venezuelans against the country? Is he in jail? Where is he? So they leaked that thing. They posted it. to distract you, the Guyanese people, from the real issues that has to do with you need to trust and believe and support your president and your government and your party because elections is close by. They have something else now to bring distraction. So all these people whose names were called in that so-called months ago interview, they now have to come out of their comfort zone and address it. I would not have addressed it. All the Jagmahans who came out and responded, and all the other people, I would not have time to waste on that. All I would have done is call my lawyers and say, hey, I want $1 billion lawsuit against this man. $1 billion. That's how I would have dealt with it. I don't have time to come and give a statement. To who? To who? I have no time for that. The man himself said he severed ties with the Jagmohan 3 years ago. He said it. So if you severed ties with the Jagmohans 3 years ago, then from then to now, why wait until now? You paid your debt, you severed ties. What's up? Why come out in 2025 and make this claim? And you have no issues with these people? You mean you paid the man, you cleared your debt, you do all what has to be done, and you're afraid of your life? You are afraid for your life from people that you already paid off? The only person that Junior Bash was and is afraid of is the Muhammads. They're the ones he's afraid of because they have him in their hands. He still needs to pay them billions. So whatever they say he has to do, if he don't, they will do to him what they do to everybody else who owes them and ain't paying. Which brings me to this. You heard the story, I think it's in the news now, of that young man that took money, borrowed money from Junior Bash. You heard the story. And because of the high interest, because this is another thing that this Junior Bash guy does. He gets money, he borrows money with zero interest, and he lends it to other people at a enormously high interest. Now, even in the United States, since we like to make reference to the US, there is a limit as to how much interest you can take from anyone for loans. There's a limit. If you take beyond that, and the person signed because they didn't have a choice, because they need the money, they don't have to pay you back at that interest. You can't take them to court, because if they report you, you can get into trouble for overcharging interest. I think in every country the laws exist. So the whole deal with this Junior Bash lending people at these exorbitant interest, 55% interest and 65% interest, in some cases 100% interest. He can't take people like that to court to pay him back, because no judge would agree with him. Can't. He has to work within the parameters of the law. And even with that, he has to have a license that is permitting him to lend money. He has to have a money lender's license. And he doesn't have that. So that is him breaking the law, lending money without a license and charging those high interest. So he can't work within the laws. And the fact that now the Mohammeds are sanctioned, they can't pursue people who owe them because they're blocked. So what happened? As you heard the story, this young man who might have been seduced into trusting this Bash guy, who might have talked about his ties with the Muhammads, that how they're nice people. Oh, don't worry, they will lend you money, no interest. Don't worry, you can get your property, you can. And the fact that they lend the money with such high interest, the poor guy couldn't pay the interest much more the loan back. But that was not their motive. The motive was the man's property. They wanted the man's property. That's what they wanted. So any amount of money, yeah, you can have it. Because they know it's not practical for him to pay them back at the time that they gave him. Than to have him sign contract and make deals that you put your property as security. So because he threatened to go further because it's unfair, yes, you may say, so why did he take the money? Why do you take the money? Why do you go and take money from your relatives? Why do you borrow money from other people and pay those interests some of them ask for? Because you can. Why do you do it? Because you can't find other sources, right? Exactly. Why didn't he go to the bank? Maybe the bank has too many red threads. Maybe he has money for the bank already. Who knows? It's not but why? The thing is, this is a man who went on an interview and cried foul, played a victim game like a bitch. Oh, they want to kill him. He's going to expose without evidence. If something happened, then you can show the video. Well, isn't it better to show the video before something happens, so that if they plan to do you something, they would, oh no. Because if something happens to this guy, the public already know that he called our names. Why show it after you're dead? You have to show it or hold it and send it to the others. Say, hey, you see what I have? If you harm me, I'm going to make sure it goes out. That's what you do. You don't put it in a safe in case shit happens. You publicize it. Then if shit happens, you know that, okay, we know who did it to him. But the same culprit in the video, the same man who wanted to stain everybody else's name, the same man who implicated this Jagmohan guy and all these other people, the same guy who, when this asshole Chase asked about, so what about the Muhammads? Oh, they have no, yeah. The Muhammads are the demon in this nightmare. They are the Freddy Krueger in this nightmare. They are. So he didn't implicate them. But the fact of the matter is, that mother of that boy that they tortured, they kidnapped, you know the story. They kidnapped him, tortured him. Why? They didn't want to kill him. They wanted to put the amount of fear in him to let him understand, you better walk away from that property. Forget the money and walk away from that property. We don't want the money back, but that property belongs to us. That he would do everything possible to forget about the property. The whole point of the torture and the kidnap was to get him to forget about the property. And this is a man, this Muhammad guy is a man who goes around the country building houses for poor people. And what do you know? The same guy allegedly is stealing houses from poor people. Because a poor guy who's trying borrowed money from him through a third party. And what did he face when he couldn't pay the loan back? Beatings, torture, kidnapping, and they confiscated his property. Now they have to fight via the courts to get the property back. They reached out to the president begging the president to intervene because it's unfair. We all know it's unfair. But what can the president do? The president is not the courts. He's not the attorney general. He's not the police. What can he do? If the president gets involved, there you hear again, you see, he's using the apparatus of the state to go after his opponents. What can the president do? It's good that the mother wants to bring it to the attention of the president that, hey, we are fearful for our lives, so we had to leave the country because of these threats. But there isn't much. You have to make a report to the police and trust the law that they act on the matter. But since Muhammad claims that he owns the police force, then you won't get any justice there, because 2 years on, and this guy is still around to make videos, and Muhammad is running for president. Neither of them are charged and held responsible for the kidnapping and beating and torture of that young man. Neither of them. 2 years on. Where is the justice? Where is the justice? The president can't get involved to order the police to. No. The police is non-governmental. They work to serve the people. And this is why you have these issues. But why aren't we explaining and expounding on these issues? Because most of the platforms are funded, sponsored by WIN, the Muhammad camp. So these dangerous talking points that are exposing the criminal enterprise, the fact that these Muhammad's people are beating people up when they can't pay them, they're sending their thugs, they're harassing people, they're bullying people. These paid pundits would not talk about that. They will say it's propaganda, it's the PPP doing it. No, but the evidence are there. The Guyanese people know the evidence are there. The Muhammad's camp, they are dangerous people. You shouldn't be afraid of Ali, you should be afraid of him, Ashwini Muhammad. You should be afraid of their camp. These guys don't get rich going to church. They put their hands in blood, in dirty, dirty things to get where they are. The Americans told you. It's there on the website. That's why they're sanctioned. High crime. So where is the justice for that young man who they kidnapped, beaten? They beat his ass, took his property. Why would you do that to a citizen, a poor, struggling citizen, a young man? Why? And then you claim that you love the poor people? How many of these people that you build their houses, how many of them had to sign their houses over to you, Muhammad? How many of them gave you deed to their homes? How many of them actually build their homes on loans from you? And not, in fact, you use your money. How many of them you loaned money to finish their homes and they had to sign it over to you? How many of them? How many of them? Because I don't believe you build houses. I believe you loan people money, but they sign their property over to you, and you probably give them time to pay without interest. I believe maybe that's what you did. But we have an actual case whereby this young man's mother. Oh, and if you're wondering, I have a copy of the letter that she sent to the president. Yes, I have it. It's not hearsay. She reached out to the president last month, begging for justice. 2 years on. Yeah, I have it. It's not hearsay. They're still concerned because they want to go back to vote. They want to go to their country to vote. They want to be a part of the movement. They want to be a part of the progress of the development of Guyana, but they're so afraid of Muhammad and his thugs. That's why he aligns himself with the ghetto, because he uses the ghetto to execute his plans against those who default on their loans to him. Afraid. Indo-Guyanese is afraid of an Indo-Guyanese Muslim who claimed to be Allah's boy. Oh, we're good Muslims. Man, I tell you, these people, the ones with the most sin are the ones who are always on their knees praying. This is why that man, Bash guy, was talking, because he is the biggest criminal and operative for the Mohammeds. You borrow money from them to lend to people at high interest. But if you finish your deal with the Jag Mohans, then why are you concerned about them? Why are you concerned about them? What is it? Okay, well, competition, your competitor, you want to bring him down, you want to implicate him, and now, so it's clear. The Mohammeds are jealous of these people, that these people have no stain on their names. They're clean, they're not. So they want to get them corrupted as well. Yeah, basic politics. But the Guyanese people must understand that the danger to Guyana, as the president and the United States have told you, is the Azzuddin Mohammed, his camp, and the people that stands with him, that he's funding. They're the danger to him. And the danger to Guyana. Maduro there's $50 million bounty on Maduro. The next, they might put a bounty on Muhammad. So if you are dumb enough to bring him and Bashk and this Jabur guy and all these other people into government, this is what you will get. Benchcop as minister, Meliwell as minister, Rickford Burke as minister, Norton as your president. That lady, what's her name again? That Hindustan lady, that Indian lady. What's his name? Norton's right hand person. What's his name? Somebody tell me here. What's the name? The right hand person for Norton, the guy that always comes out and cuss Jagdi and so on. Anyway. See, I don't dwell much on them, so I missed his name. But I think I'll get it. Yeah, the one with the gray hair. Somebody tell me here, what's his name? Okay. He'll be the vice president. Okay. Manny Paul. Thank you. That person, he'll be the vice president. Norton will be a president. When you vote for those fools, that's what you're getting. And speaking of which, someone called me 2 days ago on behalf of the PNC, I think Aubrey Norton. They presented it nice. And they asked me that they would like me to be a part of their team leading up to the elections. And they can promise in writing that I can be appointed ambassador of Guyana to Suriname under the Norton government. In writing, they promise. If I can now join them. And it's somebody close to me. So I believed. And I said, I'm not flattered. Why would Norton insult me to that level? To approach me through you and offer to give me ambassador. I mean, ambassador? Why not vice president or prime minister? Ambassador? I said, no, I'm sorry. Tell Norton he can keep his position. I'm not interested. Yeah, 2 days ago. It always misses me to mention it, but I thought today I'll remember. No, Norton, you can keep your ambassador position. I'm not interested. I'm going to be the Dr. Love Prasad for the PPP government, for my fans on YouTube and TikTok and all over the place. And I'll be here because after Ali wins, you guys wouldn't shut up. So as long as you wouldn't shut up, I have to be here. I have to make sure that I bring the other side to keep the people calm and keep them trusting in their government and working for the development of the country. I have to do my part. But if I'm your ambassador, I can't say anything. I can't cuss anymore. I have to be stuck in an office and your honorable this and distinguished this. No, I don't have time for that shit. I want to be able to come on my platform and cuss you and them fucking assholes in your camp. And being ambassador, I can't do that. It will be unethical. I have to follow protocol. And speaking of protocol, Norton, the word is audacity. You have the audacity. Audacity. So if you want to say an Irfan have the audacity, that's what you say. It's not audacity. And you're supposed to be educated in England. Really? You sound dumber than the thugs that you lead. Irfan Ali have the audacity. There's no such word. Audacity. Da. Audacity. It's not D-O. Look it up. Gosh, Norton. You're really making the Afro-Guyanese look stupid. You should stop speaking and write what you want to say and get somebody else to do it for you. Because nobody is there in your audience. Your voice turns them away. Imagine you as, I don't want to say it. Okay, forget it. Get Manny Paul, get her to speak, get they to speak for you. Okay, you shouldn't be speaking, Norton. All right? So I tell you what. Know what you're gambling, people. Azruddin Muhammad and all the people associated with him, they are criminals. Not I said that. The courts say that. The Americans say that. And you would have the opportunity to get even with Smelly Well because her crimes are out there. And no matter how she tries to spin it, to say she was baiting this one and baiting that one and baiting this one, no. You can't tell the courts you are baiting anybody. When you come on record and you said you received and collected and you embezzled via GoFundMe, no, it's not baiting. Don't try to change that because you get caught. Oh, I was joking. We were just fooling around. No. The man caught you with the other man in the chair on top of you, the dick in you, and you're saying, oh, it's not what you see. We were just fooling around. No. He knows exactly what he saw. And what he saw is exactly what you did. So you admitted that you stole, you embezzled, you committed fraud. That's what your mouth admitted. Congratulations. That's where stupidity gets you. Now let Norton hire a lawyer, Dexter Todd, to defend you. And let's hope he doesn't take $35,000 for your case. Shame on you. Until next time, we'll meet again. But for now, thanks for watching. Stand by your president. Defend his mother. Defend your government. Defend your constitution. And all the businessmen that are doing good for Guyana, like the Jagmohan family, they pay their taxes. They're not sanctioned, are they? No. They're clean, professional business people that the Americans are doing business with. If they're not sanctioned, stand by Guyana's pride. They're contributing to the economy. They're contributing to the development of the country. They're paying their taxes. That's why you Guyanese are getting social programs, because business people like Jagmohans and all these other people that are implicating in this mess are paying taxes. And those tax dollars are helping you, the Guyanese citizen. You stand with the wrong people. Muhammad ain't paying taxes. He's seizing people's houses, kidnapping people, torturing them. Not me. I didn't say that. The claims of the mother and what's in the public sphere said that's what he does. So when he comes to your neighborhood, close your doors, close your windows. He can pick up all the idlers on the street corner. He can go to Church Street after hours and recruit all those prostitutes and those low lives there and put on some shirt, give them a blue shirt and a 50,000 and say, hey, tomorrow show up here. He can do that. That's good. But you don't be a part of that toxic crowd. You can do better. Until next time. Thanks for watching.
It's this year.